What is up, guys? It is DMG here, and today we are going to be doing another episode of Rate My Squad. And really, I chose this squad for a couple reasons, but nothing really more than the fact that team season's coming up soon, and it has striker Ronaldo in it. So, with those two things combined, one, we've never tried an insane player like that, and two, with team seasons coming up soon, prices are very low right now. They're going to be pretty low once Team of Season is released. So right now it's the 24th, it's Tuesday the 24th, and Team of Season Most Consistent gets released on the 27th, on that Friday, and a week after that I think it's Premier League. So I don't think we're going to be opening packs for like Most Consistent, but Premier League, we're going to be opening packs for that. We're going to be opening packs for hopefully some other leagues as well. But we're also going to be doing a lot of Rate My Squads and a lot of squad builders as well. Since Team of Season is kind of when we start to pick up those Rate My Squads and squad builders, that's where we are able to do a lot of those hybrids. So, this team was, for the most part, something that is, I think the person threw together because they knew it had a lot of untradables in it, I think. But, it was a really good team. So, in the team was Ederson in goal, Aurier at right back, Bailly, informed Ronaldo at center back, Path to Glory, Sandro at left back, which also includes an inform of his. In the midfield was Bale, Prima Cocho, Goretzka, and Futmis Nabry, and that striker was that 95 Cristiano Ronaldo. And then we would sub out Bergstaller for Conte, and of course we would switch up formation to either 4-1-2-2 narrow or 4-2-3-1 narrow, depending on what our opponent was doing. I mentioned that I hadn't really used a player of Ronaldo's quality, and that's not entirely true. I've used it in like other positions, but not at like a striker in an attacking role. So, players that are similar to him in other positions would be like De Gea in goal, Team of the Year Ramos, Vieira at defensive mid, 88 Vieira at defensive mid, right? So we've tried top tier players and they've all been amazing. So I thought it was time to use like a top tier god level player at, striker, or at least an attacker. So we did that with that 95 Ronaldo. So we'll get to him later. So I do want to talk about some other players in the squad, and I'll kind of briefly talk about some players that we've already talked about before, that we've been in the team, that we've kind of talked about before. So in goal, Ederson, we haven't actually talked about him before, we haven't used him before, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised for the most part. He's someone that I wouldn't rate De Gea or Farman level, but if you need a Brazilian goalkeeper, he's the one to go with. And he has 2 informs, maybe 3. I want to say 2 informs though, I think an 86 and an 87, I think. So, he can even get better as well. But even if you need a cheap Brazilian goalkeeper, or just, you don't want to use Begovic and you don't have enough coins for De Gea, go with Ederson from the Premier League or something like that, because he is extremely good. I mean, again, not De Gea, not Farman levels, but he's a very good cheap quality goalkeeper. And right back was Aurier, and I didn't really like him that much just because I've been spoiled by Valencia. Aurier was okay, high work rates, very strong, so he was fine there, but he just feels kind of slow for the most part. So, again, I've just been spoiled by Valencia, so if you can, go with Valencia. I have not tried Aurier's inform, that does look good, so you could try that out, but if you want to go with something that will guarantee you, security on that side, then just go with Valencia. Bailly we've talked about a lot, and Sandro we've also kind of talked about a lot. Best left back in the game. He's also incredibly good at defensive mid, so best left back and best defensive mid in the game in my opinion. And he was on 8 chem and he was still fantastic. And then the last defender was informed Ronaldo at center back, and just defending wise, tackling wise, strength wise, he's very, very good. I really liked him because he's 6'6", he could get headers. His jumping's not good, but he's 6'6", his heading accuracy is very, very good. He is, again, very tall, so he can get tackles, he can lunge and try to get the ball, which can be a problem at times in case an auto lunge happens, but most of the time that doesn't really happen. But one thing I did notice was not necessarily his positioning, but the fact that, I guess it is kind of his positioning. Like, if he sits back, he's fine, but he has high medium work rates. So with him combined with Bailly, who has medium high work rates, they would be different, right? One would be ahead of the other. Ronaldo would always be ahead of Bailly. So that would kind of cause havoc, because he would kind of screw Bailly occasionally if, Ronaldo couldn't get a tackle, which, didn't happen often, but he would just kind of screw Bailly back there. So, That was something I noticed, and that's something I noticed with Team of the Year Ramos as well, but that's Team of the Year Ramos. He can get back and make an insane tackle because it's a Team of the Year card. Ronaldo isn't obviously that good. Still an insane player, still a very good player, but he's not a Team of the Year card, right? So he's not going to be able to run back and do something that Team of the Year Ramos can. So keep that in mind. Maybe go with someone who has high work rates or high medium work rates for a center back, because Ronaldo will be not like pushing up the field, but he will be a little bit further up than other center backs who may have high, medium work rates, or even medium work rates. So at the defensive mid spot, we did either have one or two depending on the formation, but Conte was always in a defensive mid spot, whether it was in the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. And he was one of the first cards this is the first time I've tried this card, and I really did like him when it's on the ground. But I've noticed that I really like defensive mids and defensive players who are very strong. Like I've noticed, or I've mentioned that with left and right backs, and I'm noticing that with defensive mids especially, because he's not necessarily weak, but he's also very, very small. So, strong and tall defensive mids, in my opinion, are something that are very crucial. So Vieira, he's a cheat code at defensive mid because he just wins everything. Hullet would also be very good at defensive mid, I feel like, if at least in a 4-2-3-1 or a 2 defensive mid set. But Conte, he intercepts very well. He's very agile, which is really nice. But he's not going to knock Ronaldo off the ball. He's not going to knock Lewandowski off the ball. He's not going to knock Suarez off the ball, or Bale, or anything like that. He's not going to win header over Ronaldo or Lewa or Bale or any of those players because he's 5'6". So he can tackle them very easily, but pretty much any other situation, it's not going to go well. So honestly, Bakayoko would, in my opinion, probably be better, because while he's not as agile, while he's not as pacey, while the work rates aren't as good, he's bigger and he's stronger. And that's honestly what you do need. Like, as much as we hate to admit it, that's what you need in FIFA, is just kind of strength. And his pace isn't bad either. Bakayoko's pace isn't like horrible, so he's usable. So honestly, in my opinion, Bakayoko is better than Conte for this FIFA. Now, we did use Goretzka at the other defensive mid, and I've talked about him a lot. He's incredibly good there. Bale would be at center mid, who is also very good at that center mid spot, because very pacey, very strong. That's kind of all you need in a center mid. He can also go forward very well. His defending's not terrible either. And then the attackers were Gnabry, Footman's Gnabry, Okocha, Prime Okocha, and of course Ronaldo. So Prime Okocha we've talked about a lot. He's one of my favorite cards just because he's very small. He can maneuver very well. His dribbling's insane. And then the last two players, the two strikers or left attacking mid, depending if it was on the formation, Gnabry and Ronaldo. Gnabry was also probably one of my favorite players in the team because of his positioning. His positioning was very good because he was a Schürrle type-esque player, and you guys know I've mentioned him a lot. He just sits in a spot and just makes himself available. He can turn because he has 4-star skills. He's good at dribbling. He's very pacey as well. He can lay it off and then he can finish it, right? If you need him to make a pass, he'll make the pass. If you need him to make a shot, he'll make a shot. Whether it's a long shot, a finesse, or a driven shot, whatever, he'll put it away. So, he's not the most insane player. He's not as good as Ronaldo, maybe. He doesn't have all of the aspects like Ronaldo. But, he's going to get multiple chances a game, which is really nice because while, someone else who finishes 9 times out of 10 is going to be in a spot, once a game, that's not that great. Whereas someone who finishes 7 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, is going to be in that spot 5 or 6 times a game. That's obviously better because you're going to get more chances and eventually they'll put it away. It doesn't even matter if it's a bronze player who's off chem or some insane player. If they get enough chances, they will put a shot away. So, Gnabry's not a bad off-chem bronze player either. He's obviously an amazing player, so he's going to be putting those away majority of the time. So, again, he is like a Schürrle-esque player, always working, always very good. So that's something that I've noticed with him at striker. And then, of course, Ronaldo. Like I said, I really wanted to try out this team because it has Ronaldo in it, and we haven't used an insane player as an attacker before. So the fact that he came in and did exactly what I expected him to do, it says a lot because, again, when you pay 1.5 mil, 1.6 mil for a player, you expect him to do everything for you, and he did exactly that. And there were times where he even surpassed that, because, finishing wise, he did exactly what I was expecting him to do. Nothing too out of the ordinary, I would say. He finished just everything, right or left foot. But one thing that really not surprised me, would just even shattered my expectations, my very high expectations, was the fact that his positioning was very, very good. He wouldn't just sit in a spot. Like, he would do that occasionally, and he was very good at it, but he would also make very good runs forward. I wouldn't have to tell him to sprint forward. He would run forward, get behind a certain defender, and position himself properly so I could driven pass it, do a through ball behind, whatever it takes, and he would just be getting the pass and put it away, like I said, because his shooting was that good. So that's probably going to be it for this video, guys. So, like I said, once Team of Season comes out, I'm going to be making a lot more squads, and obviously rate my squads. And once the Premier League, I think, is the next one after the most consistent. Once that comes out, then we're going to start opening packs as well. But until then, until the Premier League and Bundesliga and all those leagues come out, we are going to be making new Rate My Squads, new squad builders. So be sure to be ready to make squads for me so I can rate them in case you guys are interested in a certain player that looks overpowered or someone who looks good but may not be as good in game. So like I said, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been DMG. Peace.